again. Dodgers, Padres, weekend number 2, back-to-back weekends. It did not go well at all for the Padres last time. A clean sweep out of Dodger Stadium last weekend, and we went in a game up, and we came out 2 games behind.
It happens. It's baseball, but it sucks.
All we had to do was win one game, and it would have left tied. You know, that's the whole difference between 2 games and no games is 1 game.
Both teams came up to play playoff game.
It was intense for 2 out of 3 at least. Mm-hmm. But, you know, one thing that really did the Padres in last weekend was getting behind early in the game.
And Michael King not pitching.
Well, it was ironically that was the game the Padres did the best in.
Yeah.
That was, you know, that's the game they had the biggest fighting chance. That was 3-2 game. Both teams only got 4 hits.
That's true.
It was like a classic first game of a series, feeling each other out, too timid. Both teams were playing tight, I would say. And the Dodgers winning that first game obviously helped them out. Padres. Now, the Padres came out and had a pretty aggressive game plan against Schnell last weekend on Saturday. They were getting on base, but then they were stealing a lot and getting thrown out a lot. In fact, they had 3 runners caught stealing in the first 2 innings and kind of ran themselves out of maybe having a hot start because, unfortunately, the guys behind Schnell were getting hits.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens when the rematch goes down starting tonight, but this time it's at Petco Park, and while we left L.A. trailing them by 2 games in the standings, they went to Colorado, and we went home to play the Giants. And interesting things happened. The Dodgers went 2-2 in Colorado, while the Padres went 3-1 at home against the Giants. And if you are mathematically adept, you will know that we have now gained a game back on the Dodgers as we welcome them into tonight. And what's ironic about that is we went into Dodger Stadium last weekend, going into the Lions' Den, up by a game, and we came out 2 games behind. Now here they come into our place tonight. They're a game up. So it's like we inversed.
Is it going to be a reverse of the fortunes?
Well, I would love if that was the case. And the Dodgers not only got roughed up a little bit in Colorado, but they actually got roughed up because Ohtani, while he was pitching, got hit hard for the first time in a long time. 9 hits he gave up.
It's a different ball game when you pitch in Colorado.
And he also took a liner off of his thigh and was later removed from that game, was given a day off that was planned already, I guess, on Thursday. And in fact, the Dodgers rested up quite a bit of their starting lineup ahead of this. In fact, 1/3 of it. No Ohtani yesterday, no Teoscar Hernandez yesterday, and no Will Smith yesterday. So all 3 given the day off. Now, Will Smith is understandable. Catching an afternoon game after a night game is one of the things that usually you get a day off. Ohtani probably was given a scheduled day off, and Dave Roberts was assuming correctly that he could get away with a win against the Rockies without 1/3 of his starters, and he was correct. But I was a little bit surprised that he did do that, considering that they had lost 2 out of the first 3 games. You know, they had to win yesterday just to split, and they did.
They did.
So here we are. The Dodgers now up just by a game as they head into Petco Park tonight, and the Padres took care of business mostly against the Giants, I would say. It got off to a rough start Monday with the loss, but then we came back and won 3 straight as we welcomed the Dodgers in. And I'm glad we didn't lose yesterday going into this game, you know?
Definitely.
So having said all that, I want to take us back to Monday because I heard a clip from Jim Bowden, former MLB executive, and this was on MLB Network Radio. So we don't get any video of Jim's face talking to us, but we will hear him, and we will see that dancing waveform on the screen. But let's hear what he had to say about the upcoming matchup this weekend between the Dodgers and Padres before they had even played their games against Colorado and San Francisco this week. All right.
You look at the huge difference between these 2 teams. The Dodgers starting rotation is now significantly better than the Padres, and the Padres bullpen is significantly better than the Dodgers. Both teams have good lineups, great lineups that are great top to bottom. But I think those first 4 or 5 innings every single night for the Padres is going to be huge. If they're going to win, they have to get better starting pitching. And I think they're kind of like the Mets right now it's a little bit more of a question mark. And, I go back and I look at their trade with Kansas City. Did they really have to trade Burgett? Did they really have to trade 2 of those starters for Fermin? I just wonder if that.
I wanted to quickly just mention that because Jim Bowden doesn't say anything here, Freddie Fermin is under contract for 4 more years after this. And while I agree starting pitching is at a premium right now and it's the most important position on your team, I would also push back gently and say catcher is also a really important position, and it's a core piece of your team that the Padres have now locked up for another 4 years. And I think putting him with the rest of the core that's already here, Merrill, Tatis, Machado, Xander, it's a good fit.
Absolutely. And the Padres needed a catcher, desperately needed.
They did. And they got one who's a good one, who was mentored a little bit under Salvador Perez, who could be a Hall of Fame catcher. We'll wait and see on the verdict on that one. But nevertheless, Freddie Fermin, also a very highly rated defensive catcher. And, the more time he spends with the pitching staff, it's only going to get better.
Yeah.
So just wanted to point that out because he doesn't. All right, continue, please.
Wasn't a mistake. But anyway, look, there's 2 games separate these 2 teams. And I think as much as the Dodgers have dominated, winning 8 out of 10, and they have dominated the Padres, I think next weekend is going to tell us more. I think when you take the series to Petco, you take it to San Diego, all 3 games are sold out. I think how the Padres and Dodgers play next weekend is going to be a telltale, because if the Dodgers go in there and take 2 out of 3 or sweep, if they keep dominating, then I think that they're in a position to ride. But if the Padres go in there and take 2 out of 3 or sweep, I think we're going to have, right down to the buzzer. But it's fun to watch. Yeah. They're both playoff teams. But to see the Dodgers starting pitching healthy over the weekend, total game changer.
Ooh.
Well, it is a playoff atmosphere for sure. He's got that right. And I want to say I agree with him 100% that if the Dodgers come in here and take 2 out of 3 or sweep the Padres, God forbid, then it's over.
It's over.
Then we might as well just try and be focused on getting the first wild card spot. But I don't think we're going to catch the blue machine. And in fact, they will probably have a lot of momentum coming out of here if that happens.
And also the Padres team gonna feel deflated.
Yes.
Because it is an atmosphere of playoffs, and both of the teams have those games circled on the calendar. They want to put their best foot forward. Yet, if you lose, the whole season feels like a deflated balloon at that point.
Oh, yeah. I don't even want to think about that. So,
I know.
But on the flip side, I do agree with him also to say that if the Padres win 2 out of 3 or sweep in this series, all of a sudden it's open season. Like the division is there for the taking, and the ball's kind of in your court.
Yes, the division is for you to lose then.
Yes. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great weekend.
It's going to be stressful.
It's going to be stressful as well. And let's look at those pitching matchups, shall we? Because tonight we have Blake Snell starting against Yu Darvish at home.
Go you.
Tomorrow we have Tyler Glasnow starting against Nestor Cortez. And on Sunday afternoon, early start time, 1:10 Pacific, it's Yoshinobu Yamamoto against Nick Pivetta on the mound. Nika, those are your pitching matchups this weekend in San Diego at Petco Park. And the only thing I want to say is thank God Dylan Cease pitched yesterday against the Giants, because I think he has PTSD against the Dodgers.
Yeah, something to do with that, or he cannot handle the Dodgers and the stress that comes with it.
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't know.
Anyways, the Padres must respond here.
Yes.
I think this is important, not just for the division, but for their psyche going into the playoffs. You don't want to lose the season series, every series, to the Dodgers.
But you don't want to start playing pressing, and you don't want to start playing sloppy.
Exactly.
Because
play your game.
Play your game, exactly. Don't pay attention what the Dodgers are doing.
They can beat themselves right now.
Exactly, and they have done it before so many times.
They just did it to the Rockies twice. So they are beatable, and
of course
you can beat them at home, especially. So let's topple this giant once and for all, and let's leave things on a good note as we march towards the postseason. I also happened to catch this article from Mike Schilt, Nika, and
from Mike, he wrote an article.
It was in Sports Illustrated.
Wait,
but
Mike Schilt wrote it?
No, he did not. JP Hornstra wrote an article about Mike Schilt, and the headline reads, Padres Mike Schilt calls out players to improve in one key area. And wow, we have this big series coming up against the Dodgers, and here we have manager Mike Schilt, who's known for not really criticizing his players all that much, issuing a challenge ahead of time. I like this. Let's get into the article. The San Diego Padres and the Los Angeles Dodgers are separated by a mere one game for first place. Yes, Jim Bowden said 2, but as we mentioned earlier, Padres go 3-1 against the Giants. Dodgers split with the Rockies. You can do the math. It's been narrowed by a game. They are separated by a mere one game for first place in the National League West through Wednesday. On a map, their home ballparks are just 123 miles apart. Yes, they are, and that is on the 405 Expressway. In one critical area, San Diego and Los Angeles could not be further apart. Oh, yeah? Well, what is that? While the Dodgers lead MLB with a collective 865 OPS with runners in scoring position through Wednesday, the Padres ranked 27th with a 680 OPS. Ouch, that's almost 200 points lower with runners in scoring position, a crucial stat that I think gets overlooked a lot these days. Only the Kansas City Royals, Pittsburgh Pirates, and Chicago White Sox rank lower. And yes, none of those 3 teams are going to be playoff teams this year. The 2 teams are headed for a rematch of their 3-game series that shifted the balance of power in the NL West last weekend when the Dodgers visit Petco Park on Friday. Manager Mike Schilt concedes that batting with runners in scoring position is an area that needs improvement. Quote, one thing we've still got to work on is runners in scoring position, Schilt said. Quote, but we have a lot of runners, so it's a good thing. And he is right about that. The Padres have been getting on base a lot better. They have not been hitting with power and just haven't seemed to be getting that timely hit to deliver knockout punches. You know, we saw a couple crooked numbers go on the scoreboard the last couple days, though, against the Giants, a 6-run inning and a 4-run inning. And I like seeing stuff like that. That's when the Padres are at their best. They get ahead early by a sizable lead, and you can just turn it over to that bullpen. And even if one guy doesn't have it that night, you still got 4 others waiting behind him.
Yeah.
All right. It's rare for Schilt to publicly call out one of his team's shortcomings, and their issues deserve a more thorough examination than his remark suggests. The Padres' issues batting with runners on second and or third base are not as straightforward as they seem. With a runner on third base, for example, the Padres are hitting .289 with a .340 on-base percentage and .406 slugging percentage. That puts them close to a league average in terms of OPS at .746. That's according to Baseball Reference, but you and I both know, Nika, that the Padres have not been hitting well with runners in scoring position, and that's because in every other runners in scoring position situation, the Padres' bats have wilted. These are their slash lines through Wednesday, and runners on second, 228, 337, 325. Runners on second and third, 231, 365, 330. Runners on first and second, 250, 333, and 350. And with runners on first and third, 223, 262, 340. How about bases loaded? Remember the Slam Diego, Nika?
Yeah, non-existent.
Non-existent. 252, 318, and 393. Mike Schilt, I'm glad he brought this up, and he probably should have mentioned something sooner, but it's better late than never. It's a big series, and hopefully things with the new lineup will help improve some of these things. I'm talking about O'Hearn and Laureano. Those figures add up to an OPS that's at least 11% below league average in each situation. Ouch. 11% below. Hence the Padres' overall struggles. It's not merely that their power disappears. Their ability to hit for average in each situation is worse than it is without a runner in scoring position. So while it's tempting to say the Padres are trying to do too much with runners in scoring position, this is one of the arguments we make, that they press, that does not explain their inability to hit for average or their success hitting for power with a runner on third base specifically. Well, yeah, it does. I can tell you why, is because they hit a lot of sacrifice flies with runners on second and third, and they get the runner from third home, but they never get the runner from second to move anywhere else. So I feel like the numbers are a little bit lopsided, and that's why they don't always tell the whole story. About the only certainty is that it's frustrating to watch lesser opponents cash in with runners in scoring position while the Padres continue to struggle. And it's an issue that ought to be fixed before their most important series of the season. Hence, this was a good challenge by Mike Schilt, Nika.
Absolutely. Was the challenge accepted?
We don't know yet. The Padres and Dodgers don't play head-to-head again after Sunday. So this is it. This is the last 3 games of the season series. And one thing I want to say about this is this stat alone makes me nervous for this whole season. This does need to change.
Yeah.
This is an issue that, it is correctly brought up by the manager to the press. Trust me, I'm glad he challenged them as a team. He didn't name any individual names, and those names know who they are in the locker room right now. They know who he's talking to. Hopefully they got a good night's sleep, got some rest, and come in today energized and ready to play ball in front of an energized home crowd. Nika, before we get out of here, who are you taking this weekend? Any predictions?
Gosh. No, because if I start making predictions, it always goes sideways. So I'm not going to
Nika refuses to make any predictions. I'm going to give you guys a prediction before I get out of here. And I'm going to say we're going to be tied in the NL West on Monday, everybody. So we'll see you then, and we'll talk to you Monday.
Go Padres.
Go Padres.